So Bernie Sanders trying to influence the Democratic platform. We talk about it in other videos. There's another one. So according to the political, so what happens, I hope you understand what happens with the platform. The platform of the Democratic Party, the Republicans also have a platform. It's supposed to be all the stuff they believe in, right? So you would expect in a Democratic platform, they're supposed to be liberals against conservative. The liberals would be pro-worker, pro-freedom, pro-social liberalism, pro-acceptance of people, and whereas the conservative would be the opposite, right? Trying to take rights away from people, discriminate against people, screw over workers, give funnel money to corporations, crony capitalism, and a lot of war. Well, it turns out Democrats are very similar now. That's the big problem. That's why Bernie Sanders won. So there's a guy named Bill McKibben, who's been appointed by Bernie Sanders to be on the platform drafting committee. So they're going to draft the language for the Democratic platform. So when Hillary Clinton is the nominee, they can go, hey, look, this is what we're supposed to believe as Democrats. And when she violates that, they can at least say, look, she's violating what we're supposed to believe as Democrats. So this guy, Bill McKibben, so Bernie Sanders got to appoint 5 people on the platform committee. Hillary Clinton got to appoint 6. Debbie Wasserman Schultz got to appoint 4. Okay, so there you go. So this guy, Bill McKibben, he's kind of documenting his voyage through the platform committee. He says, we spent 2 weeks listening to powerful testimony from citizens around the country. And then on Friday in St. Louis, we started taking votes on what the Democratic platform was going to include. What do we believe as liberals? So he goes on and says, the essential dynamic quickly emerged. The Clinton campaign was ready to acknowledge serious problems. We need fair trade policy. Inequality is a horrible problem. And unchecked climate change will wreck the planet. But when it came to specific policy changes, they often balked. So they're giving lip service to the problems of working people, but no solutions. For instance, amendments against the Trans-Pacific Partnership Trade Agreement and backing Medicare for all failed, with the Clinton delegates voting against it. Really? Amendments against the TPP partnership? They voted against that? Yep. Already flipped on the TPP. So he goes on, Bill McKibben says, we all agreed that America should be operating on 100% clean energy by about 2050. But then I proposed in one amendment after another a series of ways we might actually get there. Like, oh, we all agree this is a goal? Well, here's some proposals. Let's get there. A carbon tax voted down by the platform committee 7-6. Hey, how about we have a ban on fracking? Voted down 7-6.
Oh, my God. These are Democrats.
These are Democrats. Yes, these are Democrats voting down a ban on fracking, voting down a carbon tax, which George Bush Sr. used to be for. That used to be the compromise position, cap and trade. That's what the Republicans were saying. They can't even, they're not even as liberal as the old Republicans. An effort to keep fossils in the ground, at least on federal land, voted down 7-6. I'm going to guess that means fossil fuels in the ground, at least on federal land, voted down 7-6. An effort voted that down. Can't even get him to stop. How about a measure to mandate that federal agencies weigh the climate impact of their decisions? Voted down 7-6. So Democrats give lip service to the biggest problem our country's facing is climate change. It's the biggest problem that the earth is facing. It's a defense issue. It's an economic issue. It's every kind of issue there possibly could be. Democrats voted down doing something about it.
Wow.
This is Democrats. A measure to mandate that federal agencies, all they have to do, weigh. They have to weigh the climate impact. That's all. They don't have to do anything. Nope, that's a bridge too far. Even a plan to keep fossil fuel companies from taking private land by eminent domain was voted down 7-6.
And this is among, again, Democrats.
Again, this is the Democratic Platform Committee. He adds, we did, however, reach unanimous consent on more bike paths. Boy, what an impact that'll have. So he goes on to say, in other words, the Clinton campaign is at this point rhetorically committed to taking on our worst problems, but not willing to say how. Which is the slightly cynical way politicians have addressed issues for too long, and just the kind of slickness that the straightforward Sanders campaign rejected. So, again, the politicians, meaning the Clinton campaign, giving lip service to the people, to their demands, their wants, their desires, lip service, and then sticks it right in their ass and goes with the corporate money, whatever they want. He goes on, Bill McKibben says, no one wants Trump to win, but many of us looked at the Brexit vote and see that unenthusiastic centrism has a hard time beating zealous craziness. So what they're saying is, so what Hillary Clinton's offering people who are attracted to Trump is she's offering them unenthusiastic, so who can be, hey, incrementalism. Hey, we're not going to really change things. Yay. No, status quo. You can't get excited about that. And what he's saying is that if you want to beat zealous craziness, you're not going to do it with unenthusiastic centrism like that. Look at the Brexit vote. He says we need unions and working people and environmentalists fully engaged this time around, backing the Democrats with passion and energy. Above all, we need young people who voted for Bernie by a 7-to-1 proportion. So how are you going to get, that's what you need. And they're there. The young people are there. You need energy. You need enthusiasm. That's how you beat down demagogues. That's how you beat down zealous craziness. With unions and environmentalists and working people fully engaged with your message. Guess what? She doesn't have a message for those people. The message is the opposite. I'm not with you. She's with her. She's not with us. He goes on to say, which is why we need not platitudes, but a platform. Not aspirations, but commitments. Not happy talk, but the fully adult conversation that Sanders engaged the country in for the past year. That's the irony. They kept saying he was fairy dust and unicorns and rainbow. He was the one giving specific examples, talking soberly about how he wanted to fix income disparity, $15 minimum wage, end those crazy trade deals. College for everybody, health care for everybody. People still go bankrupt because of health care. We still pay twice as much than the rest of the world for our health care. He had specific grown-up, sober adult plans on how to fix these things. And what does Hillary Clinton have? She has platitudes. She has happy talk. It's the exact, how many times have I said on this show? Very often, the exact opposite of what is accepted as reality by the majority of people, it's the exact opposite that is true. For instance, I always point to this. Man created God. God created man in his own likeness and image. The exact opposite happened. Everyone accepts that God created man in his own likeness. The exact opposite. We created a God in our own likeness and image. And this is exactly the same thing that happened with Bernie Sanders. Hillary Clinton was the serious, sober person because she wasn't going to try and do anything. And Bernie Sanders was the crazy, fairy dusty. But it's exactly the opposite. Hillary Clinton is full of platitudes and do nothing. In fact, do the opposite. Bernie Sanders is the one who had specific, sober, grown-up, adult, thought-out programs to fix the problems that working people are facing. They have nothing. And this is proving it. Cornel West, with his usual succinct eloquence, said that in the end, the platform debate came down to telling the truth. The truth is, we're in a world of hurt. That's hurt. Economic, social, environmental. That hurt is driving the unsettling policies of our moment. That hurt needs to be addressed. So that's how they're voting. That's kind of disgusting. Here's a rundown of the votes. The committee voted down an amendment for the establishment of a 15-hour minimum wage.
What?
The committee voted down an amendment establishing protections for pensions to keep them from being cut. The committee voted against the carbon tax. The committee voted against banning fracking. The committee voted against blocking energy companies from using eminent domain for fossil fuel extraction. The committee voted against an amendment to make climate change a test for building future Keystone pipelines. It voted against single-payer healthcare system. It voted against amendment to specify mechanisms on how to make healthcare a right. It voted against an amendment proposed by Dr. Zogby to add language eliminating the possibility of any use of force in the Syrian conflict. Voted that down. Also voted down amendment calling for the end of the United States exportation of fracking to foreign nations. Voted down. This is your Democratic Party? That sounds like a frickin' Republican agenda. And you wonder, but Bernie Sanders is the fairy duster. But more platitudes that's the sober, that's the tough, get stuff done person. You're getting Republican shit done. Exactly what we said. Exactly what we said was going to happen. She gets Republican shit done. There aren't enough swear words in my head that would represent how I feel about people who've supported this bullshit. Meaning Hillary Clinton and her fucking neoliberal agenda. There aren't enough swear words in my head in the whole world. You're a bunch of spineless, quote-unquote liberals. You're not liberals. If you support Hillary, you're not a liberal. You're spineless. You're classic, what they've always said about liberals. That's what you are. You're spineless, and you roll over for this corporate crap. And when are you going to stop? When are you going to stop? When the Republicans own everything in this country? When they have the Senate and the Congress for a generation? And by the way, you think we're going to get a Republican president after Hillary? It is over. When she becomes president. It is over for progressives. It is over for liberalism. And you think what Brexit happened in the UK, you think that's bad? You think Donald Trump is bad? You wait till you see the next nightmare they come up with. He won't say that crazy stuff, but he'll be doing 10 times worse. Good way to go, Hillary Rodham Clinton supporters. This is fantastic. You phony pretend Democrats.